Okay, so another action figure video review, this time of Ultimate Shredder 2025 Haulathon figure. Okay, so these are the accessories on tray. So extra handsets, a medical gun, and those are the two accessories that I really appreciate that are included in this action figure. So alternate head units. So the other accessories that are included, this is way too cool, floppy disk. So yeah, okay, so a portrait of Shredder's mom, the amulet, yeah, once again. So let's get the figure out of packaging and discover whether all of this fluff is worth the action figure. Okay, so we have the action figure and action figure essentials on the review table. So this time, let's review this guy exposed without the cape and without the mask or the helmet. Okay, so dimensions first. This action figure stands around the 7-inch mark. So compared with the Marvel Legends action figure, compared to a McFarlane Toys action figure, there you go. So with this configuration, let's do a quick 360 view of the figure. Okay, so you guys could really take a look at all of the details without this. Okay, so is it worth your 34 bucks and the fluff that is included? Okay, so let us first take a look at the alternate head units. Okay, so head unit number 1 with the exposed face and the helmet. Okay, so that's how the action figure would look. Okay, so the one that came in box. Okay, now take note of this, so just in case. So this part, the plume of the helmet, they are detachable. Okay, so same goes with this unit. Okay, so you could interchange even if you wish to. There you go. Okay, so you could do that. Let's take note of the difference in the ornament on the plume. Okay, so you could even mix and match. Okay, as for the quality of the cape, well, very thin material, and let's take a look at how it is stitched. Okay, so this is the top that is exposed to us, and this is the bottom that is not exposed to us. Okay, so for those of you guys who are action figure kit bashers or customizers, you could do a better cape, but for now this would do. Okay, so now let's take a look at the details, close-up details of the action figure. Okay, so let's move the review table. Okay, so just the portions that are now exposed without the cape. Okay, here we go. The back. So actually very solid action figure when you take it out of packaging. And yes, I did not apply any form of heat treatment to this action figure. This is a straight out of the box review. So I already checked all the articulation points and played with this action figure before doing this video. Okay, so with that head unit, so left and right movement for the head tilts, looking down, and changing of head units is very easy because you just pop it off and replace it with a new one. Okay, so let's change head units. Okay, so just a quick look at the articulation point for the head. So it's going to be a double dumbbell joint, and right now out of the box, that is how much articulation that it has. So actually, if you still wish to provide more articulation points, you could take out your X-Acto knife and actually carve out more plastic on or around the crater, these sections. Okay, so that's going to free more space for this base to further move around. Okay, now let's take a look at the cavity or the crater for each head unit, so you guys would just have an idea. Okay, so this is for head unit number 1. So that is the cavity or crater for head unit number 2, and the cavity or crater for head unit 3. Okay, so if you guys would exchange head units on this action figure, so from this head unit to the helmeted versions, always make sure that you're going to detach this article of the unit, or else you're going to break the ornament. Okay, now let's discover further articulation points on the action figure and details and the quality of the action figure. Okay, so we already discovered this area or covered this area, the head. So we have the cape back on, and that is the length of the cape, just barely this much below the boot line. Okay, so well, for customizers, that's an easy fix. If you want something grander, longer, and with a wired version for Shredder. Okay, anyway, just for this standard version. Now moving towards the body. So we have a cut on the diaphragm, so the diaphragm point is also on a, just like the head unit, that's on a double joint. Okay, but right now out of the box, that is much articulation that you have. Actually, there's enough clearance that there's really no rubbing of plastic to plastic material. So yeah, good job Neca with this articulation point. Okay, we also have that for the waistline. Okay, so 1, 2, that's 2 articulation points already for the body. Now let's move towards the shoulders. Okay, so these covers are actually attached to the shoulder. Okay, so full 360, you have to adjust your turn. The poses are possible. There you go. Even with that piece, you have a cut on the bicep for rotation of the bicep, and those are, let's see, pinless articulation joints for the elbow. Let's take a look at the bend for the elbow. Okay, nice clean bend and nice clean configuration, anatomically right. Moving towards the forearm, this section is attached to the lower half of the forearm. Okay, so we have the armor straps for the forearm. Okay, so it actually, the connection would start on this section. Okay, so when you rotate this piece, when you take a hold of this section of the arm, okay, so there you go. Okay, so we have rotation and hinge for the handsets. Okay, so moving towards the legs. Okay, so let's lift up the front and back skirts. Okay, so it's going to feel like a McFarlane Toys construction, wherein, yeah, take a look at that. Okay, so it looks like we have a brief over a connector point or joint for the hip area for this section, because this is soft rubbery material too. So yeah, just that's why I mentioned that it's going to feel like a McFarlane thing. Okay, so that's why it provides for greater articulation points actually. Okay, so we don't have a cut on the thigh, no visible cut, but yep, just like McFarlane Toys. So actually it's hidden under there. Okay, now that renders the leg clean of joint articulation, so actually looks nice. Now, pinless joints for the knees, and they're not soft or rubbery, nor is the elbows soft and rubbery. Solid pieces. Okay, now let's check out the bend for the knee. Okay, there you go. Nice clean bend and anatomically right. Okay, so execution, really satisfied with the execution of 4 articulation points of this action figure. Okay, so moving towards the leg, so these sections. Okay, so we also have a boot cut somewhere here. There you go. So check out 1, 2, and there you go. So starting from this point to that, that's going to be the boot articulation point. The spikes are on this side of the shin guard, opposed to what we have been used to, that this area, these 2 spikes would be on the other side, but yeah, this time it's going to be on this side. Okay, so articulation point for the foot. Okay, so let's light that up so you guys could take a look at the articulation point. Okay, so nice and clean. Actually really loving the design on this action figure. And of course, rocker. There you go. So that is the full details and articulation points for this Ultimate Shredder action figure. And take a look at that. One time, it stands on its own. Okay, so final thoughts on this action figure. Do I recommend that you guys buy this action figure? Yes, it's worth it. Construction of the action figure, articulation points, the plastic that was used, top notch. Okay, so even if this action figure was just released with this and just those handsets, actually I would even buy it for $34 without the extra fluff that is included. But with a good quality action figure and the extra fluff that it is included with, so adds more value as a collectible and even as a action figure piece that you could enjoy playing with. So if you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure or custom action figure review.